Hello there, good morning and welcome to Claret and Booze, the Daily Ramble. My name's John, aka Virgil, and just to get the boring stuff out of the way, if you like the show, please hit the like button, does us a massive favour. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel here at Claret and Booze, please do so, it's completely free. And once you've done that, if you hit the bell notification, you'll be advised as and when we go live or upload shows like today's. Now, as we know at the weekend, the worst kept secret in football was rubber stamped. Declan Rice signed for Arsenal. And I'm not here to moan or praise or take the mick out of Declan Rice's move to Arsenal. I'm here to talk about what happens next. And as I'm sure you've seen, literally, as soon as the deal was confirmed on Sky Sports, in the first 24 hours, all sorts of links started coming out. Links that have already been spoken about before, but apparently offers on the table. Now, obviously, with Declan Rice going, we have a huge hole in the centre of midfield. And as we know, Declan Rice did a sterling job as a player for us in centre midfield. In some aspects, in some respects, he probably did a two-man job, often carrying Thomas Soucek. Now, to me, the most important position to fill at the moment is that centre midfield. We need to shore it up. We need to get players in who will do an apt job, who are comfortable in the Premier League and who have a proven track record in the Premier League. Now, Fulham's Palhinha is a player that is showing keen interest from West Ham United. West Ham United are up on signing Fulham's Palhinha, and as it seems, Jurgen Klopp has also come out and expressed an interest in signing the Fulham Portuguese ace, especially if rumours are believed, Fabinho and Jordan Henderson both leave and go over to the exodus happening over in Saudi Arabia. Now, Palhinha is a very interesting player. You know, Palhinha started his career in Portugal, as you would imagine, and played for some lower league clubs before making the move to Sporting. His time at Sporting wasn't always fantastic at the beginning. In fact, he went on loan a couple of times to other Portuguese clubs. However, he got back in at Sporting and did particularly well, so much so that Fulham, Marco Silva, decided to bring him to the club, bring him to the Premier League, bring him to the cottage for around £20 million. Now, since his arrival in the Premier League, Palhinha has been fantastic. His tackle success rate is not only top of the Premier League statistics last season, but he's also the top of the tackle success rate across the top 5 leagues in Europe. He's somebody who loves a tackle. He's somebody who is, very aggressive in his tackling. He's extremely aggressive, never backs out of a challenge, and often is seen diving into tackles in an attempt to curb opposition's attacks and breakaway attacks. He is an all-out fantastic CDM. Now, a lot of people question what is the worth in buying a 28-year-old for supposed £40 million. Now, the argument is there's no resale value there, but I'm not of an opinion where, in my opinion, we need to be buying players to replace Declan Rice who will have a resale value, because we'll only then have the same sort of scenario on our hands again. We need to fill the gap here and now. And at 28, Palhinha has a lot of experience. He's played Champions League football. He's played Europa League football. And in fact, with our season coming up in the Europa League, I think he will be a fantastic acquisition for the club. Now, a few weeks ago, there were rumours flying about that Fulham wanted £90 million. I'm not sure where that's come from. But if you listen to reports that have come out over the weekend, supposedly £40 million is more of a realistic fee that Fulham are willing to accept. Now, for me, £40 million, it is a lot of money. I'm not bemoaning that, but when you consider that his statistics prove how important he was or is to Fulham defensively, I think it's cheap. In football terms, obviously. Now, obviously, we know that West Ham have been linked with all sorts of players. A lot of people have been calling for Amrabat for Fiorentina, but it seems that Amrabat in his mind, wants to play for a bigger club. So that would enable West Ham to focus more on somebody like Palhinha. And if rumours are to be believed, we have tabled a £40 million bid. As I said, it is rumours. And as we know, journalists love to link us to absolutely everyone, especially on the back of receiving this huge transfer fee from Arsenal. Obviously, apart from Palhinha, we've also got Edson Alvarez of Ajax, who again is a fantastic player. But for me, with his statistics, with his tackling credentials, with his leadership, and with his experience of Champions League and European football, I think Palhinha is a great acquisition for the club. You know, in an interview I read with him recently, he said that when he was in Portugal, he actually struggled in his own homeland. And I think the reason being he put it down to the fact was because he loves a tackle. In Portugal, a lot of these tackles that are fair over in the Premier League and would be accepted, he was being booked for. He was being penalised for. Now, the funny thing about that is that as much as he's got great statistics in these defensive abilities, i.e. tackling, etc., and breaking down opposition attacks, he doesn't have great statistics in bookings. I think last season he picked up around 14 bookings for Fulham. So that's one side of his game that he probably needs to work on, the bookings. But I suppose when and if you are that type of rugged, resilient, tackle-hungry, aggressive CDM, you are going to be picking up bookings, I suspect. Now, updates from Fabrizio Romano also suggest that Harvey Barnes is no longer on our radar. Harvey Barnes is definitely favourite to join Newcastle. So, yeah, I don't think the Harvey Barnes one is going to happen. However, as I say, I think CDM and centre midfield is where it's at. Now, look, this is going to get me a lot of bad press, right? And I don't really care because football's based on opinions and this is mine. You know, if we go and get someone like Palhinha for 35, 40 million, in my opinion, another midfielder that we should be looking at, and a lot of people are going to scoff at this, is Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay is a very underrated, very experienced Premier League player. He's 26, Scottish international. He's quite diverse in what he can do. He can sit and hold as well, but he can also change his game up and play as a box-to-box midfielder. He's also very good in the air, aerially at set pieces. So for me, you know, like I said at the start of the video, if Declan Rice is leaving behind almost like a two-man job, if we were able to obviously keep Paqueta, have someone like Palhinha in, and also Scott McTominay, that is an upgrade on Thomas Soucek, by the way, in my opinion, in regards to Scott McTominay. I think that would be a great little midfield, you know. I think that Paqueta would be your flair. McTominay would be your versatility. He's also got an eye for a pass. And Palhinha would be your, you know, CDM biting into like challenges. So I think a midfield of three of McTominay, Paqueta, and Palhinha, I think that'd be great, you know. And if the Palhinha thing didn't work out, Alcaraz is also an apt acquisition and an apt replacement as well. But you know, if rumours are to be believed, then the Palhinha thing is on the table. The offer is on the table. My only concern, really, is that Liverpool are now supposedly sniffing around, and Jurgen Klopp has come out and sort of, you know, been suggested that he's a big admirer of him. So if they do lose Henderson and Fabinho, then, you know, that could be a problem, us competing with Liverpool. You know, where would Palhinha rather go? But we'll see, you know, but I think he looks a very good acquisition, and I don't care that he's 28. I don't really see the relevance in that, if I'm honest with you. Other transfers we've been linked with is obviously, now, you know, look at the size of my barnet, look at the size of my head, old slabhead, Harry Maguire. Now, look, I think Harry Maguire gets a lot of bad press. We know his liabilities. We know he's not the quickest defender out there, but if you play him alongside someone who's quick, then, you know, as proven at England, he can perform well. There's no doubt that he has been, unfortunately, Man United's club captain, probably in their most disappointing of periods in the Premier League. Coincidence? I don't know. Look, in any other circumstances, if we were looking for a centre back, I wouldn't say no. The only problem I have with it at the moment is I think we have an abundance of centre backs. You know, we've got Oggy signed another year. We've got Zuma. We've got Aguero. We've got Kera who can step in and play there. You know, I'm not sure a centre back is a huge priority for us at the moment. And if rumours are to be believed, you know, Maguire, who was already on around £200,000 a week, has also, on the back of Man United qualifying for the Champions League, been given a pay rise, even though he played very little part in their Champions League qualification. It was written into his contract and he had a pay rise. So his wages are always going to be a huge stumbling block. Moyes was asked directly about the links with Maguire over the weekend in the press conference, and he poo-pooed them straight away and said, look, I'm not going to talk about someone else's player, etc. And I hope that's true, in so much as I hope we're not going to be going in for Maguire, because I just can't see the value in that, if I'm honest with you. Also, Zakaria, the Juventus midfielder who was on loan at Chelsea, that rumours come out again. Me and Nick were talking about this the other day. He does have a terrible injury record. He picks up a lot of injuries. He's missed a lot of football. And if, again, rumours are to be believed, we've offered 11 million. Juventus are looking more around 17 million. He's been at a lot of clubs. He's been around a while. Juventus obviously don't fancy him. It's cheap, but you could say it's too good to be true. And maybe his injury record is a big part of that. I also think we need a striker, because I'm hopeful, and I think that Scamacca will stay. But I think Antonio wants out. I think he needs to go, and we probably need to think about having a third, if not second striker. Get rid of Antonio. Movamba, he could be third choice, but I don't know. Look, we've been linked with lots of strikers. We're always linked with lots of players, and apparently, again, I can't remember his name there. What's his bloody name? Sorry about this. This is why I record it live. I don't like doing editing and all that. What's his name? Oh yeah, the Strasbourg striker Habib Diallo, the Senegalese international. He plays at Strasbourg. He's got a good goal return. He was at Metz before them and had a one goal every 2 games. He's on or around that now at Strasbourg, and apparently we've offered £14 million offer. £14 million offer. If you listen to the newspaper, The Express, West Ham have offered a £14 million offer for Habib Diallo. It's been rejected initially. They haven't come back and said, how much they're looking for. But he's a good, honest striker. He's not going to set the world alight fantastically well. But for, if you could pick him up for 15, 16, 17 million, he's not a bad striker. Not a bad little player to have around. I think Antonio needs to go. I think Antonio wants to go. And in that case, we'd be left with just Scamacca and Divan Mbamba, who is to somewhat untested, untried. But, hopefully we can use him in cup competitions and some of the Europa League games. So will we be able to get this striker from Strasbourg? Maybe the fact that Patrick Vieira's just taken over the club and he's taken Nevin with him from West Ham United as well. Maybe Nevin can do us a favour and promote the club to Diallo, or maybe Diallo will be starstruck and want to work under Vieira, obviously being a French legend that Vieira is. But look, we're being linked with all sorts of players. For me, it's important now to get some bodies in this week, at least 2, to show a little bit of intent. Now, I know people will say, well, what's the point of getting already Premier League players in? What is the role that Tim Steidten is actually playing? But if we manage to pick up Palhinha and McTominay for a combined total of 60, 65 million, let's just say, for two midfield players who would upgrade what we currently have, in my opinion, I think that would be good business. It would also leave money in the kitty for Steidon to go out and get some of these, cheap European players that he's supposedly and well renowned for picking out of, lower league football, overseas, lesser leagues for good value, and that would enable him to get a sprinkling of those type of players into the club. We need to get things moving there, because look, the whole Declan Rice thing, it dragged on far too long. It became a little bit embarrassing. I think Arsenal were taking liberties a little bit, but they're entitled to do what they want, I suppose, when it comes to that sort of money. We need to get players in. No to Maguire, yes to McTominay, yes to Palhinha. Okay, a striker, Diallo, cheap as chips, that sort of money. Will he come? I don't know. Harvey Barnes is a no-go for me. Not because I don't want him. I'd love him. I just don't think we're going to go for Harvey Barnes. I think he'll go to Newcastle. I just think we need to get people in this week. Let's show a bit of intent. Let's show a bit of there's life after Rice. If there is life after Rice, which I think there will be, and I hope there will be, then we need to act fast, put it to bed, and get players in. So stop pissing about, all three of you, Sullivan, Steidon and Moyes. Get the bodies in, get some good players in, make proper bids, and let's get them in to start wearing the claret and blue, and let's make next season a bit of a better prospect, something to look forward to. Because at the moment, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress from a lot of quarters. I'm getting a little bit like that. We never do things on the quick, do we? We always seem to leave it late. So let's hope that they can pull their finger out and get going. If you like the show, sorry I've made a few balls ups along the way, but this is how I do it. Hit the like button. Why not subscribe to Claret and Booze on our YouTube channel? And we'll see you soon with more shows. Take care. Come on, you ones.